Good morning. This morning, I want to take a few minutes to talk about our emotional well being and how that can affect our work. We all have probably been in construction and particularly in ironwork long enough to realize that there's a lot of things that can happen in our particular business that can bring on anger. And here's something that we need to address, especially in situations like we're in, where we have a lot of pressure on us under a lot of different situations. Not just when things are normal, but even now, particularly when things are much more abnormal than they would usually be. So, here's something I want you to think about, if you would please. If you have angry workers in your department or you yourself are angry, then you may end up reporting more injuries on the job. There's a recent study by the Annals of Family Medicine that found that high levels of anger increase the risk of injury. Angry people are more likely to sustain injuries serious enough to require emergency medical care, and the risk is higher for men than for women, according to Daniel Vinson, who's from the University of Missouri. The study, which was in the Annals of Family Medicine, found that nearly 32% of all the patients reported being irritable just before they were injured, 18% reported being angry, and 13% reported being hostile. Anger more than quadrupled a person's chance of being injured, while being hostile increases those odds sixfold. For men, Vincent says the link was particularly clear. Another study that followed 100 drivers for 2 weeks linked episodes of anger with near accidents. Two additional studies found that angry people were more likely to have car crashes or, in the case of playing sports, to sustain football injuries. There's little doubt that anger can be a contributing factor in workplace injuries, but what can you really do about it? There are just things that annoy you. They're just things that set you off. Well, and these are just personal things that maybe you can apply yourself. One thing is to consciously determine to be calm, to try to approach things with a less excitable approach just in general. Instead of just reacting to something someone says or something someone does, give yourself a minute to think. Remember what your overall goals are and respond appropriately. We have to consciously make some sort of decision for our own benefit to remain calm. Also, to communicate and how we communicate makes a difference. If we communicate to someone in a calm way something that we're not happy about or we don't like, we're going to excite them less and we're going to excite ourselves less. So try to work on your communication so that when you communicate something to someone, it doesn't incite them or it doesn't make things worse for you. Sometimes you just have to walk away. Sometimes you just have to remove yourself from the situation, get away from the scene until you can respond without anger. This is not something that's going to happen overnight, and it's not something that's always easy to affect, because sometimes you're there, you've got to make something happen, you're trying to get a job done. But if you can, give yourself a few minutes away, step away, try not to respond with as much anger. It will put you in a better position to deal with what else is going to happen next. This is a one step at a time, one day at a time, one incident at a time situation. There's a certain amount of conscious effort to relax. Sometimes that's a matter of listening to music. Sometimes that's a matter of doing some stretching or getting away to where you can try to deal with something in such a way as not to provoke a greater incident. Take time for yourself. Do something that you like to do when you have that opportunity. So whether you read or whether you watch movies or whatever, do something for somebody else. someone that you admire. Try to encourage them. So these are some things that you can think to do. Try to look on the positive side of things. There's a lot of negatives right now. A lot of times we tend to look on the negative side of things. If you can consider the positive outcomes and the positive things that are around, that may help you to control your anger. Primarily what I'm concerned about is the relationship between anger and injury. So I want you to give this some thought, take it away with you, and hopefully you'll find it useful. Thanks very much.